logo. But oh, by the way, I have to say this. It's funny, every once in a while I watch videos by people that I'm not subscribed to. Every once in a while, I don't troll people. Now, me and Barber Bitch conversation ain't on good terms anymore because at the end of the day, he still talks all this self righteous stuff about how much of a better man he is. But well, at the end of the day, why don't you have the guts to, just admit what you tried to do to me and how you tried to sabotage me, but you such a better man. But at the end of the day, Fred, you're gonna always be a hoe ass nigga. And no matter how much you talk about what you supposed to have, it still doesn't take away the fact that you're black trash. Still doesn't, no matter what type of house you build or how much money you supposed to be having and all that stuff, it still doesn't take away the fact that you are a shady, disingenuous piece of crap. Doesn't matter how many zeros, that you have in your bank account behind a certain number. You are a zero as far as a person go. So, just wanted to put that in there, but it is what it is though. But nevertheless, I don't want to make this video about I don't want to make this video about that cornball, you know, but I just wanted to ask this question because watching Deontay Wilder and watching him fight, it posed a question to me. I haven't watched his interview with 7-8 yet. I'll tune into it later on to see what he has to say. So this is my opinion, and I decided to make this video. I don't know what Deontay Wilder's future plans is and that kind of stuff. I don't know what he's going to do. But I am going to give my personal opinion, and I don't care what anybody thinks. This is my personal opinion. As I say before, I don't answer to anybody, and I needed to speak on this. And it really just, just hit me, and it made me think about it. And I asked myself, if Deontay Wilder was to just announce he won't ever fight again, he's done with boxing, and he decides to call it a career, which in my opinion, I think Deontay Wilder should retire because he has nothing to fight for. He's done everything a man could do. And I asked this question to myself, and I'm just giving my opinion. Is Deontay Wilder a Hall of Fame fighter? If he was to retire and say, I'm done with boxing, I'm going to move on, I'm going to do other things, whatever his next, venture is, his next endeavor be, I think Deontay Wilder should get into promotion. I think he should get into producing films. So, hey, I would like to work with Deontay Wilder because I have some ideas, and he the type of person that I think if me and him put our heads together, I think it would be very lucrative and profitable for him, myself, and us as a community. Where some people don't care about that, I do. I just that's just how I'm built. I'm proud to be a black man, and I will never feel guilty about it, and I will never on earth, as long as I'm breathing, let somebody that ain't black make me feel guilty about being black and helping my people. We can holler this stuff about we're all God's people, but do you think that? Because I notice people only use that terminology when it comes to trying to tame black people and basically, mentally try to seduce black people and manipulate black people into believing certain things that they don't practice themselves. Now, I don't want to get deep into religion and all that kind of stuff because that's a very suchy, touchy, you know, topic. But I was just thinking, is Deontay Wilder a first ballot Hall of Famer or a Hall of Fame fighter? If he was just call it a career. And my answer is yes. Absolutely. Absolutely, Deontay Wilder is a Hall of Fame fighter. What this man has achieved, being a late bloomer, and the flaws that he had as a boxer or a fighter, to get as far as he got, winning championships, fighting on the big stage, being influential, coming up with a quote that people are still using to this day. And I mean, that quote went like global. That quote was trending. You had rappers using that terminology to this day. He made an impact, not just in boxing, but on society. So yeah. Well, I'm sorry, Chase. I have to disagree with you. I disagree with you to the fullest. Errol Spence, he not there yet. Caleb Plant, he not there. Sergey Kovalov, he's a borderline Hall of Famer. Triple G is going to be a Hall of Famer, even though Triple G is probably one of the most overrated fighters that we saw in the last 25 years. While there's a Hall of Famer, not for just what he did in the ring, but outside of the ring as well. Because he brought notoriety. He got people back to talking about the heavyweight division. Him, because of his ability to knock somebody out with one punch. It isn't always about record-wise and all that kind of stuff, but it's what the impact too. Because I can kill your whole argument with, with all due respect. Arturo Gatti was a mediocre fighter at best. Just a little bit better than average. But yet Arturo Gatti got into the Boxing Hall of Fame on the first ballot. Okay. What big fight did Arturo Gatti win? Except 3 fights with Mickey Ward, and Mickey Ward was an average fighter. So that's why I disagree with you. No disrespect, but I disagree with you. Wilder's absolutely a Hall of Fame fighter. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. But I think Wilder is a Hall of Famer. And I do think he should be in the Boxing Hall of Fame because, like I said, he rejuvenated the heavyweight division. Because when the Klitschko's retired, Lennox Lewis was gone. The Klitschko's, both of the Klitschko's had boxing. They were like what you would call the top guys. But the problem is there was a void missing because the Klitschko brothers, neither one of them, at the end of the day, they was not what you would call like, they weren't energetic. People didn't gravitate to them. I mean, as far as their skill set go, they were great in the ring as fighters, great in the ring. But outside of the ring, nobody cared about them. And I'm not saying they should pay for that because some people, they just don't, they just are not as energetic or as photogenic or what had a personality. But Wilder, he had everything. He had the personality. He just, you know what I'm saying? People gravitated to him, whether you liked him or not, whether you rooted for him or whether you rooted against him. And it was just the impact that he made during his run. So that's why I think he's a Hall of Fame fighter. And because at the end of the day, Hall of Fame have always been questionable whether it's basketball, whether it's football, whether it's baseball. Barry Bonds is one of the greatest baseball players that ever played the game, that ever put on a pair of cleats. Um, but due to the fact that people didn't like him and what they was suspicious of him doing, even though it was plenty of other people that did it, got caught, or whatever the case may be, Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame. Whether you think he did what he did, many people believe he did, but they couldn't prove it. And because of politics and because people didn't like him, he's not in the Hall of Fame. Like I said, Tracy McGrady was an absolute great basketball player. He was. But Tracy McGrady never got out of the first round of the playoffs. Never won nothing. He went to the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. Reggie Miller had to wait, I think, his third year eligibility. Randy Moss went in to the Hall of Fame on the first ballot, which he deserved to. But he is on camera saying that he only plays hard when he wants to. But yet, T.O., whose numbers arguably is better than Randy Moss, had to wait to his third year eligibility to get in. Calvin Johnson, who only played basically 8 to 9 full seasons, got in on the first ballot. But I understand Calvin Johnson because Calvin Johnson was that good. So that's what I'm saying. So that's the point that I'm trying to prove. Hall of Fame voting has always been inconsistent. You say, how did this dude get in? Or why is this dude not in? So I'm going to say this. Another dude that I'm going to do a video about probably later on today, who definitely I think should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame now. Never said he was a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he definitely should be in by now. But that's the point that I'm trying to make. It's about impact. It's not always about your numbers and whether you win championships and all that kind of stuff. I just feel Deontay Wilder had an impact. He got people talking about heavyweights. The heavyweight division was long. I mean, it had lost its luster because, like I said, when the Klitschko brothers were dominated, people just couldn't gravitate to them. They didn't have much of a personality. And I'll say this again, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. Some people, they are who they are. And that was the point that I tried to always make about Andre Ward. Andre Ward was a quiet guy. He did his talking in the ring. So, but that's why I'm saying that Wilder, if he was to hang it up, I think, yeah, he should be in the Boxing Hall of Fame. How could you argue that he shouldn't be in there? He's won championships. Doesn't matter whether he lost to Tyson Fury. Doesn't matter whether he lost to Joseph Parker. Because that's another argument we having. At the end of the day, we talk about guys like Floyd Mayweather, Joe Kazagi, Andre Ward, guys that never lost. That's fine. But let's talk about Joe Kazagi. Who did really Joe Kazagi fight of significance? And when did he fight? He never really fought anybody in their prime. And you can make an argument that he lost to Bernard Hopkins. Roy Jones Jr. was well past his prime when they fought. The only fighter that he fought that was in his prime was an overrated Jeff Lacey. He didn't want to fight Carl Froch. He made sure he didn't want to fight. He made sure not to fight Carl Froch. He fought Kessler, if I'm not mistaken. So, but I'm just saying. That's the knock on Joe Kazagi. Floyd Mayweather. He retired undefeated, but it's a question mark about, and Floyd was an awesome fighter, but we once again circle back to the question about, well, Floyd made sure him and Al Heyman designed a plan not to fight black fighters, at least in their prime. And then you might can make an argument that Floyd lost to Castillo the first fight. I thought Floyd squeaked it out. You can make an argument that Floyd lost to Maidana. Now, some people say that Floyd lost to Oscar. I have to say, bull. Floyd clearly beat Oscar De La Hoya. Then we get to Andre Ward. Really don't have much to say about Andre Ward. It's just the fact that Andre Ward, like I said, it was just hard to promote Andre Ward. And Andre Ward refused to play into the minstrel show that was being conducted by Floyd Mayweather. Now, as far as Andre Ward go, some people say, oh, well, he lost to Sergey Kovalov. Well, at the end of the day, he ran it back and he stopped Sergey Kovalov. So I'm just keeping it a buck. So if all those guys are in the Hall of Fame, why can't Wilder be in the Hall of Fame? Muhammad Ali lost fights. The Klitschko's lost fights. Lennox Lewis lost fights. Lennox Lewis got knocked out twice, but he avenged his losses. Lennox Lewis was undisputed. Now, I'm not comparing Deontay Wilder to the great Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was a great fighter. I think to a certain degree, Lennox Lewis was undervalued because, unfortunately, Lennox Lewis, once again, he was like a dude who did his talking in the ring, and he said it a couple of times. He said he wasn't finna be putting on a minstrel show to get notoriety. And Deontay Wilder always tried to conduct himself in a productive and gentlemanlike, for the most part, manner, but at the same time was entertaining, and he stood on principles, and that's fact. Now, we could go back and forth about the whole Mark Breland thing, the whole Tyson Fury controversy. At the end of the day, where people want to sit up there and doubt Deontay Wilder's claims against Tyson Fury, they want to dismiss it and all this kind of stuff and say he was being a sore loser. See, the difference between other people, whether we want to admit it or not, and at the end of the day, you're going to always have these coons, these view holes that make their bones, talking about other black people and black fighters to get notoriety and gratification from non-blacks and white people who are just blatantly racist and prejudiced towards black people. I don't roll like that. The whole Tyson Fury thing, hey, Merry Christmas. The whole Tyson Fury thing, there was evidence to support Deontay Wilder's claims. Testimony from other fighters other fighters and all that kind of stuff. There was visual evidence. There was audio evidence. Tyson Fury had got caught attempting to, cheat. And it was on video. So for the people that were just saying we were just making it up and we were just, picking on Tyson Fury because he's white and all that kind of stuff, race had nothing to do with it. We went by visual evidence. There's plenty. All you got to do is go to the Christian Hammer fight. Tyson Fury blatantly got caught with his gloves altered. All you got to do is watch the Christian Hammer fight. But then you have people at the end of the day who were just racist and just was so happy that a black man lost to a white fighter, to where they was like, you're not going to take this away from us, because for the most part, we've been seeing too many times black dudes whooping these white fighters' asses. So you guys are not going to take this away from us. You're not going to steal our joy. And it was the same thing with the whole Triple G thing. Hey, appreciate you, Mar. Same thing with the whole Triple G thing. Triple G is going to be in the Boxing Hall of Fame, and he fought nobody of significance for the most part. Triple G got one of the most mediocre resumes. And I mean, Triple G is a dude that got all this credit for fighting Foot Locker worker, fighting milkmen, fighting Uber drivers, fighting Amazon drivers. He got all this credit. So if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, how in the fuck is Deontay Wilder not a Hall of Famer? So I'm just saying. You know, I've done Chase. I've done several videos about Larry Holmes. I may just put together a whole video. I might have to break it down. I might, because it just takes so long. You know, when you do these videos with phones and stuff, it just takes so long to edit the videos and put them together and all this kind of stuff. But Larry Holmes was a very underrated and underappreciated champion. Unfortunately, he came in trying to fill in a void that was left by, you know, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, all those kind of dudes. And, you know, Foreman, he retired and then didn't come back till later on. And unfortunately, Larry Holmes was unfairly treated by a lot of people from his own community. A lot of people, for some reason, was mad at Larry Holmes for fighting Muhammad Ali. But then at the same time, the person you need to be mad at is whoever licensed Muhammad Ali to fight. But a lot of people was just mad about what happened with Larry Holmes when he fought Muhammad Ali in 1980, and then Muhammad Ali lost his last fight to Trevor Berbick. And then that was pretty much it. Larry Holmes said after he beat Muhammad Ali and he stopped Muhammad Ali, he said a lady walked up to him and said that she hated him. Now, can you imagine somebody walking up to you talking about they hate you? And and like I said, Larry Holmes was a great heavyweight. He held the belt he had a great run from 80 to 85, a great 5-year run. Was very close to breaking the mythical Rocky Marciano record. But to be honest with you, Julio Cesar Chavez already had broke that record. And so did Ricardo Lopez. So, but the problem is, Ricardo Lopez, he fought in a division that wasn't really a glamorous division because Ricardo Lopez was a small fighter, but Ricardo Lopez was a great fighter. He was an excellent fighter. And then Julio Cesar Chavez, he literally fought, I'm talking about Julio Cesar Chavez literally fought florists, cab drivers, dudes that own flower shops and owned, you know, small businesses in Mexico. He literally fought those type of dudes. So that's kind of why he don't get credit. So, you know, but that's the point that I'm trying to make. And people still say that Julio Cesar Chavez is an all-time great. He had over 100-something fights. But that's the point that I'm trying to make about Wilder. Sometimes it isn't always about record wise, it's about the impact. And like I said before, and then, you know, but Larry Holmes, just finishing up with Larry Holmes, unfortunately, he just fought in an era where he had to try to replace the void that was left by Ali. And really from the 80s till, you know, it was really just Larry Holmes. But at the end of the day, Larry Holmes fought the best competition available. And then Mike Tyson wouldn't come till Larry Holmes was past his prime. And then from Mike Tyson on, from basically 86 till pretty much the early 2000s, the heavyweights was on fire. They was, you know, they was on fire. You know, Larry Holmes single-handedly had to carry the heavyweight division. He literally had to carry the heavyweight, even though Larry Holmes never tried to fight undisputed, but Larry Holmes had to carry the heavyweight division. And then not to mention the racism that Larry Holmes went through with that Jerry Clooney fight. Jerry Clooney got half of the purse and he got to come out first. And then, listen, I really want y'all to go back and watch that movie, The Great White Hype. That movie is so relevant to what's going on now, and how they basically push black fighters to the back burner, and how easy it is to just basically um, deceive the public. Because basically, what that movie was about, it was about racism and deception, and how easy it is to basically hype somebody up and basically get people to turn on the champion. And that's what they did in that movie. James the Grim Reaper Roper, played by Damon Wayans, was the heavyweight champion. He was like 38-0 and had 38 knockouts. And then, based off the fact that he was so dominant, well, they figured like, hey, they had to basically find something different. And they found a white dude that beat him in the amateurs. And as you can see, they had the sanctioning bodies rank him the number one contender, had never had a professional fight in his life. But then everybody placed their bets on him to win based off the promotion that they put into that fight, and how they said, oh, he knocked him out in the amateurs, and people fell for it. This is what they do now. This is what you call the Al Heyman trick. This is exactly what Al Heyman be doing. He trick you into believing that these black fighters that he got are in competitive matches with primarily, you know what I'm saying, these overmatched Hispanics that you know that they're going to beat based off the skills. Flat-footed Hispanic fighters. You damn near could say the Great White Hype was about Al Heyman, or it predicted the future of what Al Heyman was going to do. Because that's pretty much what he did, is devalue his black fighters on the roster. And he elevates these Hispanic fighters, puts them on pay-per-views, puts them on cars, keeps them active. You know why? You know why? Because he don't have to pay them as much as what he would have to pay a black person. Because there's always been this thing. It ain't just white people that do this to black people, that try to lowball black people. It's black people themselves. I'll give you an example. And then I'm going to get back to talking boxing. Okay. Every once in a while, like everybody knows I'm a sneaker collector, I'm a sneakerhead, but then sometimes if I only have so much room in my room for these sneakers. So if it's some shoes that I just feel like, okay, I don't really have no use for these. I really didn't want them. It was an impulse buy. I just put them on offer up or whatever, and I try to sell them. And then the people that always try to lowball me, for the most part, I'll say, hey, I want this amount. And the people sometimes that always try to lowball me is people that look like me. I will say, hey, let's just say I want 120 for the shoes, right? Somebody will come with the typical, because see, people got to understand, I'm black myself, so I know how my people work for the most part. I'm not saying they're all like that, because I done did business with some brothers that didn't, you know what I'm saying, gave me what I asked for. But a lot of times, when it comes to lowballing, it be brothers. They'll try to say, hey, you know, I had one dude, we agreed for a certain amount. So I'll meet up with the dude. I always, you know, bring some kind of weapon with me because, you know, I don't know. And I always meet at a public place. So we already agreed on a certain price. So as soon as this nigga get there, he trying to do the old, oh, I'm sorry, I only brought this amount of money. Oh, so can you just take it? Oh, and then he think I'm supposed to be like, listen, dude, we agreed on this price, either pay it or I'm gone. And then miraculously, he looks in his glove compartment. He has the extra $20 that he tried to short me on. So, you know, I'm just telling y'all the truth. But that's the moniker of you know what I'm saying, what the PBC be doing. Like I said before, I'm not worried about these PBC apologists getting mad because I'm telling the truth. Um, like I said before, Al Heyman got a lot of Don King in him. You know, Don King, we know the story with him. So that movie, The Great White Hype, was a prelude to what was going to happen in the future. So just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, but as far as Larry Holmes go, Larry Holmes was just undervalued. And I don't think it's fair the treatment that Larry Holmes got, you know. And then a lot of times with Larry Holmes, like people just would be talking bad on him just for no reason. He was criticized basically for no reason. And I think they overblown the comments that he made about Rocky Marciano. They made sure Larry Holmes never won a championship again. If you want to talk about the first fight with Spinks, okay, Spinks might have edged him out. Second fight, Larry Holmes clearly won the second fight with Michael. He clearly won the second fight. It was, but they made sure he never won. So there you have it. But yeah. Yeah, I will give Don King credit for that. Don King did give us fights for the most part we wanted to see. Now, how he treated his fighters and paid some of his fighters, that's gonna always have a question mark behind it, based off what you hear. So I will give Don King credit for that. Al Heyman, he don't want to give us nothing. He don't want to make no outside fights. And I was talking to somebody about that, and he was trying to explain to me why Al Heyman don't want to do outside fights because he have this, he have that, and saying, and I'm sorry, it went in one ear out the other because I just thought it was complete bullshit. At the end of the day, we got to hold these guys accountable. Like I keep saying, if Al Heyman, and I keep saying this again, when you had these Errol Spence butt boys and these PBC apologists saying that the PBC was doing this. So what happened to all that? Well, if you want real money and want real fights, you need to sign with the PBC. Well, okay. Do you still have those sentiments now? Because look where the PBC is at now. Top Rank got a deal. Top Rank got a TV deal. The Zone, for the most part, they got a deal. They got a pay-per-view and they got a streaming deal. Matchroom got a streaming deal and a pay-per-view deal with the Zone. Well, the PBC is still up in the air because at the end of the day, they weren't giving us fights that we wanted. So we waited 3 to 4 years, too long for Spence versus Crawford. We still can't get Canelo versus Benavidez. It's looking like we're not going to get Tank versus Devin Haney anytime soon. So this is the problem. But yeah. And then you look at Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder in 4 years, not including what happened in 2020, has barely fought 4 times. Okay? Barely. Fighting once a year. Charlo brothers. One Charlo didn't fight for 2 years. Another one didn't fight for over a year. Gary Russell Jr. haven't fought in 2 years. But everybody's saying PBC was the way to go. So I wonder, do these PBC apologists have the same sentiments they had so many years ago when they were saying, oh man, when they was trying to beat negotiators, oh man, Bud need to do this. Well, here's the thing now. My question is, do Bud know when he gonna fight again? At the end of the day, say what you want to say. When he was, listen, it's issues with Bob Arum and it's issues with Eddie Hearn. It's always gonna be problems. No matter what color they are, it's always going to be issues with fighters and promoters. That's just going to happen to the end of time. But ask yourself this. What if Bud Steele was with Top Rank? At least he would have, and Bud is his own boss. I have no problem with what Bud do. Whatever Bud decides to do is his right, you know? But say this much. You can holler about who Bud fought and all this kind of stuff. But if he, you know what I'm saying? If he was with Matchroom, even though Eddie Hearn said, well, I really don't have nothing for Bud. Well, look what's going on now. Bud is a promotional free agent, but then at the end of the day, he don't know when he gonna fight again. And then the PBC, it's the issue of the money. So that's all I'm saying. One thing about me, I don't tell no fighters what to do with their careers, but I can give my opinion. I'm just asking that question. So when are we gonna see Bud in the ring again? When is we gonna see Tank in the ring again? When is we gonna see the Charlos in the ring again? When we gonna see Gary Russell Jr., Jared Hurd, all them people fighting occasionally, fighting once a year? But then when you call this madness out, you have these fake pro-black dudes that call us coons and sellouts, and we hating on the black man and all this kind of stuff. But then at the end of the day, the black man ain't doing right by his black fighters. People can holler about what they got paid in the beginning and all this kind of stuff. Well, at the end of the day, well, that was then. What about now? You know, $6 million back then by today's standards living in the States, that ain't much money now. You could blow through $6 million in a day. Depending on the cost of living, whatever prospective state you live in, you know, $6 million here, $6 million there. Like I said, nobody wants to have real conversations. But yeah, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. So that's what I'm saying. We holler about what people allegedly got paid, supposedly got paid. Yeah. But what about now? And then let's just keep it a buck. I know people be saying, yeah, man, he got paid $6 million for this fight. I don't know what the tax bracket is. And it always come down to where you fight it. I can tell you now, if you got paid $8 million for a fight in California, you'll be lucky. I'm gonna be honest with you. You'll be lucky if you walk away with 3 or 4. Because I can tell you now, in California, you guaranteed $8 million in California. I can tell you this much. Probably out of that $8 million, 2.5, 3 of it is going to Uncle Sam. Then maybe another 1.5, 2 million is going on various things, paying your staff, paying your people, and all that kind of stuff. So you'll probably be lucky if you left with 4 on the dot, or 3.5, or 3, or 3. So that's kind of deceptive. Now, I can tell you that right now, living in California, I can tell you now, they tax you. They tax you. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Well, if they can't guarantee me a fight date, Bud, that's what lawyers is for. That's what lawyers is for. If they can't guarantee, it's July. July. It's been since July, since Bud fought. August, September, October, November, December, January. And all likely, Bud ain't got a fight schedule in January. They talk about February, possibly. So basically, it'll be 7 months if they can get the fight for February. It'll be 7 months since Bud last fought. So once again, you going past 6 months. You going into basically almost a year since you last fought. At the end of the day, Bud is 36. He needs to be fighting at least 2 times a year, because you never know when that ring rust is going to kick in, or when, the clock, start catching up with you or slowing you down. So at the end of the day, we don't know what's the details or the specifics of Bud's contract, but at the end of the day, That's what lawyers is for. If you can't guarantee me a fight date or when I'm supposed to fight, I'm going to take another fight. But at the end of the day, this could be another stall tech. This is the point that I'm trying to make. They don't even know where the money is coming from to pay for that fight. So there you have it. But in closing, I'm about to reset. I'm going to come back with something else. But in closing, absolutely, Deontay Wilder is a Hall of Fame fighter. Peace out, you guys.